Hi guys, well this is going to be a fairly quick video, but I thought I'll share what I'm doing. It's an FM radio transmitter. Now this is from a relay station some 100 kilometres west of where I live, and the owner of the stations has asked me to have a look at it. Fault is overheating. So straight away with these crown transmitters, the problem will be the fan. Now, there's two fans in these. I thought I'd bring you along for the ride on this one. There's one in there, and this looks like it's, had a fair bit of use there, or abuse. And underneath, there's a fan here. Now, not sure. I just can't remember whether these are 12 or 24 volt. But anyway, we'll check the fans out, have a look, and give it a bit of an overhaul, a bit of a clean up, and get it back into service. Right, well, the first fan, I think, is going to be, if we can get him out, in behind here. I may have to take this back cover off, I think. Yes, it's certainly looking like, oh, this fella's fairly heavy. We'll take this back cover off. As I said, this will only be a quick video, but I thought I would share one of my repairs. And this back cover comes off, and yeah, she's certainly very, very dirty in here. It's a little gauze vent, but certainly seen a fair bit of dust, and as you can see by the fan, that fan almost seized up, very tight to turn. So this will be the problem, or one of the problems, one of the two fans. We've got to clean this up, clean the inside of him up. I'll probably do this with compressed air. I'll lift him up there. Just trying to think where this fellow plugs in. But sometimes the easiest way to do these without pulling the whole thing apart is to just rejoin the leads. But we'll have a look in here. We might be able to get back in here and do something with it. Now, I'll give you a close-up of the fan. Okay, the fan is a 12 volt, which I will have in stock, and it's 250 milliamp, but yeah, just a standard little computer fan type arrangement. And he actually unplugs, so that's good. I think I do have another fan like this, but that's what he is. And he's freeing up a little bit there, but not a lot. Let's find a new one and see if we can get ready to put him in. Now, what I'm thinking is there is 4 Allen screws on each side here. Actually, that one's loose, and this one's loose. Okay, these are tight. Very interesting. We need to get this cleaned up, and this is your power amplifier in behind here, your RF amplifier. Always runs pretty warm, so really needs a good clean up, and I don't know how much dirt has been dragged in through the side with the fan. So what I'm going to do is undo these and try and get into the PA and just check, that's power amplifier, and just check and see how much dirt has gone in here and give it a good clean up. And by the look of the dirt on that screw that goes in through there, fairly dirty. Now, what happens here? On one side, we have a B&C plug that I think I can... Well, on both sides, we have a B&C. Maybe we should have taken the bottom off this, or the top, to start with before we got to this fella. I still will, but he's a little bit awkward. Okay, there's your B&C sockets. How about when we put this back, we get the top off? Now, this is our power amplifier. Not looking too bad inside, although there's a lot of dirt up there. It's ages since I've done one of these. And that B&C socket is soldered to the board, so he's soldered to a capacitor, so he's not going to come off in a hurry. So I can see that the fan cable goes up along here and obviously up to one of the inputs up here, but we need to get this front off. I'll unsolder this fellow, and then I think the rest of it on this side should slip off, and that'll give us a chance to get in there with a brush and clean this out. Undo him off that capacitor. Here we go. Now I think, just looking at this, I'll probably just join the new fan leads onto the end of this fellow. We'll try and keep our little ferrite bead for noise suppression from the fan, but we'll go and clean this poor thing up. Certainly needs a clean up. Okay, let's do that. Right, now he's all cleaned up. Let's put him back together. He looks a little bit cleaner than what he was. Now, first of all, we'll put this back on, and we can solder our wires once we get this in place. Now, down here, for you guys that may encounter this one day, we've got a little transistor which is actually acting as a thermistor. He goes down in there to sense the temperature of the PA. Now, we'll have to put a little strap, a little tie on here to keep him in place. Now, he's had some thermal paste on him, so I'm going to put a little bit more thermal paste in there so there's good conductivity between the copper heatsink and the actual thermistor itself. Okay, now we'll just push him into place. There he goes. Now I'm going to join the fan wires over here on this side because there's it's a lot easier than running another wire right back to here. It's unnecessary. So we're just going to join them. Makes it easier for the next fan change as well. We'll just slip this fellow together before we do the soldering so that everything is in place. And we can check all our connections. This is our main power wire that comes from up here that powers the PA, and you probably saw me take him out. He connects up onto the solder pad up here. We'll solder him back up. Now another one to remember, as you saw when I was pulling him apart, is the BNC, that little cable that goes, just move that little cap out of the road, that goes onto a little coupling capacitor. Okay, we've got to get him put back on there. If I can get myself into position here. There we go. Right, there we go. Okay, that's the fella we sold him. Right, push him back down. Everything's in place so far. Go over here and our thermistor. We'll get a very small cable tie and secure this lead down. Right, now I've cut the plug off these fans. They had a little proprietary plug on them. The reason being, we've got a plug on here which doesn't suit anything else other than the original fans that come out of this. This is just a universal fan that we're putting in, and that was the plug on him. So cut him off. Now we should have a strobe wire which is a speed control for the fan, for a PWM signal for speed, and we should have plus and minus 12 volts. So just going to hook this up to the power supply. I get a little bit of lead here. Okay, and I just want to make sure everything is all okay here. So I'll turn my power supply on. It is on 12 volts, and just to make sure that it doesn't require, this fan doesn't require a signal on the yellow wire. And boy, I must change these alligator clips. There we go, going nicely. All good. So we're only using the red and the black because we've only got the red and the black on these leads. There is no speed control. The fan is meant to work flat out all the time on this unit. So we'll cut that plug off. We don't need him. And I'll be soldering these with a bit of small heat shrink on them. Now, seeing we're not using the yellow wire, and won't be in the future, I'll just snip him off right at the end. That way it doesn't touch on anything he shouldn't. And we should be able to push a little bit of this wire back in through the grommet that's there, like so. And now the fan has to draw air in this end and push it through to the other side. So we look at the direction, which should be written here, and it is somewhere. And of course it's underneath our label. Okay, so there's a little arrow there. So the air is going this way. So our actual fan has to go in, this is more or less the way it come out. It has to go in this way. The fan rotates anti-clockwise, and the air pushes over the heatsink and cools the transistors that are bolted onto this and out the other side. Just gently push them back in there. As we push the fan in. There we go. Our fan is in. Now, we'll clean this fella up and we put him in. I'll certainly straighten him out a bit here. Don't quite know what's happened to him. And then we'll clean the cover up and put the cover back on so the power amplifier is all put back together. Before we put this cover on, I hope you guys picked this up. I'm getting ahead of myself. 4 screws. Bolt this onto the back of the unit. So she's got to go in like so. Okay, so we can't put the back on until we do that, but I'll clean these up at the moment anyway. Righto guys, now I'm going to connect this up from the inside as we discussed. I'll be taking the bottom off this, which has also got the other fan on it, and connecting this up on the inside after we take the bottom off. So at the moment, I've pushed the wires back in there. There's a plug, a B and C here and here. And we'll just check our wiring. All is good here. We'll put him back on. Put our bolt through there. Let's put a very small amount. It's probably because of the dust and dirt on them. Let's put a little bit of 226 I use, which is a very light WD-40. And we'll just smear little bits on. Like so. Just will help with the starting of the threads. All these are stainless steel. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. That's a little bit better. Right. Now, now we can put our cover on. Now, while we're putting the cover on, we've also got to put a little vent on here, on this side. There. And we put our cover on, and that holds him in place. You can actually put your Allen screws. You can get at them through here, but it's a lot easier with this removed because you can't really see what's going on. I might just try that one again. There we go. Okay, so that's the power amplifier back together. So now we'll turn him over and we'll pull the back off, both for the fan and to connect back up. And yes, we've got to take our feet off as well. Okay. Now, that fan, very, very, very dirty, and yeah, he's seized. Certainly wouldn't have been letting any airflow through this little fella. Now I'll just disconnect him so we can get rid of the top out of the road. And give us a look at the fan. Yeah, he's not good. All right, we'll replace him in a moment. But first of all, we're going to have a look inside and show you around a little bit. Man, this is really heavy. Very heavy. Okay, bring us over here a bit. This is what's underneath this transmitter. We've got our main, well, there's our power transformer, filter capacitor, a switch mode supply, another switching type regulated supply, and of course all the electronics, which we'll have a look at, is on the other side. He comes out of there and goes into, as you saw, our BNC socket, and that's the main RF drive for the power amplifier. Hooked him up at the back, and this fellow is the RF out. He goes to the antenna socket, which is on the top side of this unit. And there he is, hooked back up. Okay, so our power amplifier is now completely hooked up. We might give this area a little bit of a dust. I'll show you what it looks like. That's one of the boards. A very sus looking cap there, isn't it? It's got a little dent in the top. Something's hit on that. And over the other side, we've got a little switching power supply arrangement. Nice transformer, a toroidal transformer there. That's, yeah, very nice piece of gear. And over the other side, there's our little preamp or exciter amp or whatever you'd like to call him. He's probably putting probably a couple of 100 milliwatts in and probably driving about between 4 and 10 watts out. I'm not sure of the specs of this fella. But anyway, there he is. And let's do a little bit of cleaning, dusting here, and then we'll put another fan in. Right, now what we also noticed is when this was on the bottom and there's a little cover goes over that, and the cover is supposed to have a little bit of filter material in here to stop it just sucking pure dust or whatever, insects or anything like that straight into it. It was gone. There is none. So I will have to find something here. I think I've got some just air conditioning, just light filter material, and put him in there so that at least it looks well. It's going to do the job a little bit better than nothing in there. Okay, the fan itself, the same fan as the other one, and doesn't want to do much. Okay, so we'll grab the other fan, clean up this sheet, and start putting them back together. I have also cut the plug off the fan, the original one, and we'll do the same as the other one. We'll just solder him up, and I've got some heat shrink there. Okay, and another thing, a word of warning here. This metal, very, very sharp edges. Don't run your hands along the edge. Blood seems to appear and you don't know why, and you've sliced your finger open. So just be very careful of any of this. This is aluminium sheet, it's not stainless, but the edges on it are very, very sharp. Okay, with the air direction of the fan, as you can see, marked on there, goes this way. So what we want to do is the air comes in underneath through the filter, goes into here and distributes itself through ventilation holes around the transformer and goes out the top. So that's what we want to do with this one. Now in here, this is the bottom. This is where I've got to cut a little piece of filter. So let me go and have a look and see what I can find to cure that problem. So I've mounted the fan in this one, a bit better than the other one, and it goes on this side, as I mentioned earlier. That's the fan screwed down from the screws here. Now I mentioned the filter material. So the filter material has to be that size, goes inside this piece, and then that goes on over the top and holds the filter in there. So that's what I'm looking for at the moment. And I know I've got some, but in this workshop, it could be anywhere. Anyway, I'll keep looking. I'll be back shortly. I buy the filter material by the meter, and it's very handy stuff. Okay, which way around do we go here? It's that one. There we go. Let's put the bottom back on, and we'll find a dummy load, which is a make-believe antenna for you guys out there, and it just puts a load on the power amplifier, on the RF amp, so that it's not operating into an open load, which they don't like. The unit will shut itself down if it's doing that. Okay, tighten our legs up. Okay, let's tip him up the other way. I will give you a look in the top of this and just explain a little bit about what's in the top. And I don't want to go into technical details. Most of you guys in the RF industry know about these anyway, and this was just an overview of what to do if it's overheating. Right, we'll pull the top off, taking all the screws out. Right, let's give you a look inside. Now, as I said, we're not going to go into detail about how to change frequencies, how to align it, do all that. That doesn't have to be done. All I wanted to show you is changing fans. So there you go. That's what's inside it, and that's what we're cooling with those little fans. Okay, let's put the top on and see how she performs. The circuit breaker. Down is off and up is on. So we appear to be doing everything nicely. I have it connected to my Marconi generator, which is up there. So let's have a look-see and some comparisons on power out. Okay, carrier, which is our main RF carrier. Now here we've got RF. It's up fairly well. It's over 50%. Let's wind that back to start with before we do too much. Let's wind him back to in around there. That's our power output. Carrier's on. And we're transmitting on 90.5, which is exactly what it should be. We are putting out at the moment 5 watts. You can have a look at what's happening there. And that's him at the moment. So let's up the power a bit. And let's put him up to about 50 watts. So a slight discrepancy there, as I will show you. That's reading 47 on the Marconi, still dead on frequency, which is pretty nice. And our front panel is displaying 50 watts of RF power. So a little bit of a discrepancy there. Let's keep going up. I can only go up to about 75 watts, I think, on the Marconi. Okay, and now that's actually reading, sorry about all the camera work, that's reading 68. So let's push him up a bit and see. I think this is set at 75. And can we get 100? No, we can get 97 watts, and our display is reading 109, so quite an error there. But anyway, it's fairly close. Now this transmitter is run at 30 watts. In its situation, okay, it's a repeater station. It's a repeater transmitter, so this has a built-in receiver in this that receives one frequency and transmits on another frequency. So that's reading 30 watts, and our Marconi is reading 29.2. That's close enough for me. Okay. I'm a bit rough on the camera work. Now we'll just have a look at what it's reading here. Let's get just a little bit closer and have a look. Okay, I'll stand here to try and stop the light coming in. Can I get my light in a better spot here? Possibly not. But anyway, you can see what's going on. SWR 1.06 to 1, which is good. Level is 2.14, which is good. 16.1 volts DC to, that's the actual voltage we're running at for the power amplifier, and we're drawing 2.44 amps to the power amp. So that's how much it's actually drawing. Sitting on 20.5 degrees. The total supply, the power supply voltage, 56.8, and that is, yeah, that's spot on. It's supposed to be 57, 58, I think, but yeah, that's close. And that's it. So there you go. All working nicely. It's very quiet. Its fans are going. So it's all looking good. So there we are, guys. Oh, it's a heavy beast. There's nice cool air coming out of there. So that's working nicely. And underneath, I can feel the air intake there. And the air's actually coming out up the top here. So all working quite nicely. That fan's going nicely. And there's the back. This unit will run off 36 volts DC. It says it draws 6 amps, but that'll be at full power. Probably in around 2 amps, 1.8 to 2 amps on 30 watts like it is. But this is not used on batteries. That's only for a backup situation, but this isn't wired up for that. Okay, the receive antenna goes in here, which is an antenna on the roof. I think it's an 828. I'm not sure the antenna on the roof, but he goes into this one, picks up the FM. This retransmits on the selected frequency. Okay, that's our RF out that goes to, well, at the moment, our Marconi test set, and normally that goes to the aerial. All right, we're going to call it quits on this one. That's all that had to be done was the fans. The unit works perfectly. So, yeah, thought you might like to just see what I do on as far as the odd jobs are concerned. Okay, if you like it, give us a thumbs up. Please, if you want to follow me, subscribe, hit the bell so you'll be notified when the next video comes up. It could be anything. We are looking possibly at a turntable next, so just about anything goes, and it's not just an ordinary turntable. Okay, until next time, bye for now.